My first one I'm gonna bring up is 1999's Office Space by Mike Judge, and what I love most about this film is that it focuses on the average everyday gripes and grievances of an office worker, which it can be wild in them cubicles, you know what I'm saying? And you know, it really dives into the aimlessness of it all, the meaningless reports and the monotony, feeling like you're just running on a hamster wheel. And
you might have to get into some gangster shit.
You might have to, you know what I'm saying? You might have to, you know, when that fax machine start acting up, you know, got to get dealt with. But you know, so in this we follow a dude named Peter, and he is just like, he's in robot mode, just cruising through life in neutral, and he doesn't like his job. He's unsatisfied with his relationship, and his girlfriend convinces him to see a relationship counselor. And what ends up happening is the counselor, during the hypnotism, the counselor kind of pretty much feeds him full of "I don't give a fuck," and then has a heart attack. And so my man Peter is stuck in that trance. He's stuck in that mindset where now he just don't care about much of nothing outside of like getting his chill on. And he takes that energy back to work, and with that energy, he ends up getting promoted. He's bucking the system. He's bucking back at his boss. He don't really care much about nothing until his two homies get fired, and that's one of them is Samir, and the other one is Michael Bolton, not the singer. And once they get fired, now they get together and they want to devise a plan to get payback from the company that's been screwing them up until this point. So Michael Bolton, he kind of comes up with this little a program to kind of, you know, extort money in a very small fashion.
Ain't it the Richard Pryor Superman 3?
Pretty much, yes. Unnoticeable extortion is what we'll call it. And, everything, goes right up until they realize that they misplaced one of the decimals, and they took a lot more out in a very small period of time. And, with all this going on, there's just all this craziness, with Peter's now new relationship with Jennifer Aniston, who was, that's also kind of cool. And, just all the craziness that's going on with all these other sub characters, these workers. You got my man Milton, who is just, he gets screwed over every which way by the company, to the point where they move his desk everywhere it can be. And then they just have him still doing work and not getting paid for it. So with all this,
he was wild.
So with all this stuff happening, it's just, it's done in such a hilarious fashion. It's relatable to anyone who works in an office setting. You can find some form of relatability to this movie, and I'm saying that with my heart. But I will say I'll take an office setting over retail any day, because retail is just rough. I'm sure they make movies about the gripes and grievances of retail workers as well, and I would love to see one of those. But let me not sidetrack. What is great about this film is that, just like I said, it's relatable, it's funny, it's delivered in such a just a hilarious fashion, and the end result is you walk away with this with a lot of belly laughs and a clear understanding that you don't mess with people just because they seem unsuspecting, and don't ever, ever, ever take your coworker's stapler, especially if it's red, because they might burn the building down.
Yeah, man, this is a great film, man. I remember definitely checking this out in the theaters and having a blast. It's actually also one of the best-selling DVD Blu-rays ever. It might be surprising where this thing sits on the list. I wish they disclosed those numbers, because I would just be bragging on y'all, man, if it was my company that made this film.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they don't disclose these numbers, man. It's crazy to me.